Hi everyone. So today's agenda is going through some of the most important interview questions and answers. These questions are actually asked to me in the interviews that I have gone through. So I'm going to share all these questions and answers with you. So let's quickly begin. Okay, so the first question is, in a record triggered flow, how can you display or generate error just like you do add error in trigger? Now, for that, as per the latest releases of Salesforce, we now have an element called custom error element. Using custom error element, we could display errors just like we use add error in trigger. Same way, custom error element is used to add error in the record triggered flows. Now, the next question is, where will you add this custom error element? So it would just be used like how we do it in trigger, right? In trigger also, we write some logic, and then on the base of that logic, we decide whether to show add error element or not. So similarly, we could show a custom error element on the fault path, or we could use a decision element. So let me quickly show you one example on decision path. How can we do it? So here I've created a flow on contact. Whenever a contact is created or updated, I'm taking a decision element here. And what is that decision element saying is, if the email address of the particular contact record ends with gmail.com, if yes, then all I'm doing is assigning email acceptable in the description field of the contact record. If it does not contain gmail.com, then it is not a valid ID is what I'm assuming. And for that, what I did here is, let me show you from scratch. If it is no, if the email address does not contain gmail.com, then I'm going in this no path and I'm adding here. And you see custom error element. So I would add custom error element and I would just give it a name. And here I would say, okay, and let's save this. Now here you have two options. Do you want to show it in a video on the record page or as an inline error on a field? So if you select a field right here, let's say I want to show it on email field, I can do that. Just like you have it in validation rule, right? Like if you want to show at the top or do you want to show it next to some field? But for now, I'll just go with the default option. Okay. I'll save it and let me activate it. Let's go to contacts, create a new contact here. Where is the email address? Okay, here. Okay. Now you see there is no gmail.com over here. When I save it, I get this error. Even if you would have done in the trigger and done an add error, right? You would have got the same thing. Now I have learned one thing, that this custom error element is only available in the record triggered flow. It is not there in the auto launch platform event. Platform event triggered I have not actually seen, but scheduled, auto launched, and what else, screen flow, we don't have this thing over there. Maybe we could find out if in platform triggered flow do we have it or not later on, but for now record triggered flow only has the custom error element. So this is the platform event triggered flow, and I do not see a custom error element over here as well. So I think it is only there in the record triggered flow. Now the next question is the record triggered flow bulkified? So yes, the answer is yes. By default, records in the trigger or record triggered flow runs in the batches of 200 records. So if there are 250 records, right? First, the bulk run of 200 records will happen and then rest 50 records will be processed. So that is how it works in both trigger and record triggered flow. Now, the next question was, what is the replacement of trigger.old in record triggered flow? So if you go in record triggered flow, right? And in the decision, let's say I want to add a condition. Now I'll put record. So you see record prior. So how we use trigger.old in trigger, same way we have record prior in record triggered flow. So the replacement of trigger.old in trigger is record underscore underscore prior in the record triggered flow. Now the next question is, how do you do data mapping in data loader? So we use a .sdl file wherein we have a list of all the fields in object, and below that we have list of all the fields that we have in CSV. Now we map all the fields of CSV with the fields of object in Salesforce. That is how we do mapping in data load. Next is, how do I import parent-child records in Salesforce? Now the answer is you cannot import them simultaneously at once, but what you could do is you could create an external ID field on the parent object and load it. And when you are loading the child object record, right, you could use this external ID values of the parent field in that child file. So that this way, what is the benefit is, you don't have to, load the parent records, then get its ID, then change the file of the child record and then again load. No, you don't have to do like that. So let me give you an example. So I've created two files. One is account with external ID. So here you see, hold on 1 minute. So I've created a field called test external ID in my account object, and I'm trying to import some records in my account. So what information I've entered is, I've entered the names of the account and that field which I've created in my account object test external ID. For that, I've entered some values. Okay. Now the next thing is, I have created a file to be imported for contact. Now in that, I'll place this side by side so you could find out. Contact one, I want to associate with account one. So the external ID of account was 123 ABC. For that, account external ID I've kept as 123 ABC. Now there is no such field on the contact, but I've just created this field in the CSV. I'll show you what to do. Contact 2, I want to link to account 2. So 456 ABC I have put here. Contact 3, 789 ABC, right? So that. And then contact 4, again, I want to link to the account 1. So I've put the external ID of account 1 over here. Now the name of these files are account with external ID and contact with account external ID. So let me go to Workbench and let me insert. First, what we are going to do is, first we are going to insert the account records. So I'll do account. Here is my account with external. Okay. So you see, name got mapped to the name of the CSV and test external ID got mapped to the test external ID of the CSV. Now all I'm going to do is map fields and insert. Okay. So we have 3 accounts created. Let us go and check the accounts. We see new this week, account 1, account 2, account 3. Okay. Now for all these 3 accounts, I want to link or create contacts for them. Now one option is, I go to account 1, copy the ID of this account 1 and go to my contact with account external file and paste it there, right? in the external ID, but I don't want to do that. So now what I'm going to do is, again, I would say insert. This time I'm going to insert the contacts. So I'll select contact. And I'm going to choose this file. Now, here I am going to map the last name, but there is no such field called account external ID in contact. So account ID, the standard field that we have, I'm going to map it with account external ID, but I need to tell them, this workbench that account external ID, I have an external ID field in account with which I want to map this field. So it would give me an option over here. So my field name was test external ID. So in account one, if you see, test external ID as 123 ABC. And in the contact CSV file also, I have placed contact one with test external ID 123 ABC. So I want that contact to be mapped to this account. So that is why I'm saying map whatever values that we have in the CSV file for this field. I want to map it to this particular field of the parent account. Okay. And map fields, confirm insert. Okay. I think we have our flow activated. Because we are not entering any Gmail, right? That is why it is giving us an error. So let us deactivate that flow. Okay, we have deactivated. Now let us go and insert. Okay. So now the contacts are created. Let us go and check one or two contacts here. Okay, so we have contact one created. Let us look at its parent. You see it is linked to account one. Let us go and check contact two. It is linked to account two and so on. Okay. So that is how we can load parent-child records in Salesforce. Now, the next question is how to communicate from parent to child to parent, and unrelated components in LWC. So for that, I have already created videos on LWC. The entire tutorial is really helpful and useful for you if you want to learn LWC. So you can go and refer over there. But for now, I'll just give a brief about it. If you want to communicate from parent to child in LWC, you can create a attribute in child component, which is decorated with @API decorator, so that it becomes public property. Now that public attribute you can use in the parent component and pass the parent attribute into it. That is how you can send something from parent to child. If you want to communicate from child to parent, you need to use a custom event. And if you want to communicate between two unrelated components in LWC, then you could use PubSub or LMS. It depends on what you want to do. The difference between PubSub and LMS is that PubSub is only used if you want to communicate between two unrelated LWC components. But LMS helps you to communicate between a LWC and Aura or LWC and Visualforce page and so on. The next question is how to restrict some permissions in permission set group. So many of you might not be knowing what is a permission set group. So let me explain it here with the help of an example. Now, let's say we have three users, user 1, user 2, and user 3. Okay. And for user 1, I want to give permission to user 1 on account object. I want to give him CRUD, that is create, read, update, delete. Plus, I want to give him view all and modify all on account object. Now, there is another user, user 2. I want to give this user CRUD access on contact plus view all plus modify all on contact. There is third user called user 3. And for this user, I just want to give him CRUD on account, CRUD on contact. I don't want to give him view all, modify all in account and contact. So now what do I do? So let's say I am creating two permission sets. One permission set is test permission set on which I have given CRUD plus view all plus modify all on account, and other permission set called test permission set 2. And on that I've given CRUD plus view all plus modify all on contact. Now test permission set I'll assign to user 1, like you see here. Test permission set 2, I'll assign it to user 2. Okay. But for user 3, I just want to give him CRUD on account plus CRUD on contact. Now for that, I'll have to create one new permission set. But if I don't want to do that, then what I could do is I could use permission set group. Now, what is a permission set group? You can combine multiple permission sets in a particular group and assign that group to a user. So what I could do is, here you see I've created a permission set group out of test permission set and test permission set 2. And I've assigned that permission set group to user 3. But now you will say that we didn't want it to give view all, modify all, access on account and contact to user 3, right? So how can using a permission set group help? Now, there is a feature in permission set group called muting. So you could mute certain permissions out of the original permission sets that you have given on the group. That way, that user will not be having those muted permissions. But what would be the other benefit is you are muting those permissions only on permission set group. On the original permissions, view all, modify all will still be there. I'm only muting it from the permission set group. So in this way, I am able to satisfy the requirements of all three users. I'm not disturbing anything in the original permission sets. If I want to mute certain things, I could just mute it in the permission set group. So let me give you the, let me show you actually how it could be done. So in the setup, let me show you the permission sets that I've created. This is the test permission set. Okay, on account, you see, read, create, edit, delete, all four, and plus view all and modify all. Okay. Now we are on test permission set true. Let me open object settings again. Okay, here is the contact, and you see I've given read, create, edit, delete, view all plus modify all on permission set 2. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to create a permission set group. I'll name it new permission set, TSG, and save it. Now permission sets in group. Which permission sets I want to add in this group? So I would say add permission set. And I would select both of them and just add. Now those two permission sets are added to this group. So if I go here, you see both the permissions are added to this group. Now, if at this point, if I give this permission set group to a particular user, that user will be having CRUD access plus view all and modify all on account and contact. But our requirement is that it should just have CRUD on account and contact and not view all and modify all on both the objects. So what I could do is I could just go to the permission set group and I could go to muting permission set in group. And here I come in the object settings. I'll go to account. So you see all these permissions are there in this permission set group. I want to mute, view all and modify all. So I checked that. So now view all and modify all on account is muted. Let me go to object settings again. And let's now go on contact. On contact as well, I want to mute, view all and modify all. So I've muted that. Now we are in the permission set group. We have muted what we don't want, right? So what happened as a result of this is whoever is having permission set group assigned to themselves, they will be having CRUD on account and CRUD on contact. They would not be having view all and modify all on account and contact because we have muted that. We have muted those permissions from those permission sets in the group. But having said that, the muted permissions are only muted in the permission set group. The original permission set which were there, like permissions, test permission set and test permission set 2, which were assigned to user 1 and 2, would not have any impact. They would still be able to view all and modify all accounts and contact depending on the permission set assigned to them. So it just affects, muting just affects the permission set muted in the group and not in the original permission set. So yeah. Now the next question is it possible to attach multiple accounts to contact? So when I was asked this question, I was very confused because it didn't seem like it is possible because I have never done that. But then I came to know that yes, it is possible. And let me show you how. You need to go to the account settings first. We know that, account is the parent and child is contact. So one account can have multiple contacts. But I never knew that for a single contact, we could have multiple accounts. And how to do that is what I'm showing. You need to go to setup and go to account settings and edit. And here you will see allow users to relate a contact to multiple accounts. So once I check this and save this, now if I go to contact object, and go to the page layout, and go to the related list, you see related accounts now, right? So that related accounts you could use in the related list. I had tried this earlier, so that is why this related list is already dragged over here. So now I have related accounts. I'll just save it. Now let's go to contacts. First, let's refresh once or twice. I go to this account contact, and right now it is linked to one account, right? You see the account name. But I want to add multiple accounts, so I could click on the add relationship. And I could save the account. So now I have a contact linked to multiple accounts. That is how we could do this. Okay. Now the next question is, while converting the lead, is there a way that we create only account and contact and not opportunity? So yes, there is. So when we convert a lead, right? Let's say this is the lead and I'm converting it. There is this checkbox available on the opportunity which says don't create an opportunity upon conversion. So when I would convert this lead, right, there'll be no opportunity created, only account and contact would be created. So yes, this is possible. Creating opportunity is optional. Now the next question is how to ensure that whenever you convert lead, we should never create opportunity. And this needs to be done from backend, not from front end. So what the question is that this is one of the options. You select this and you will not be able to create an opportunity. But I want to always do that and not from the front end. This option should be configured from the backend. So then how to do that? So in setup, you could go to lead settings, edit. Here you see select don't create an opportunity by default in lead convert window. And let's say you don't even want to give them this option. You just don't want to create an opportunity. So you would say hide opportunity section of convert lead window. And let's just save this. Okay. Now let me refresh. And when we click on convert, now you see there is no section at all for opportunity, right? You see here. So now by default at the backend, do not create opportunities checked. And plus we don't see that option to enable or disable. So every time when you try to convert lead from UI, the opportunity itself will not be created. Now, there is one more way. If you are converting the lead into account contact and opportunity from like using Apex, you guys might be knowing that we have a lead convert function, right? In that convert lead, I mean. So in that, what you need to do is you need to say lead convert instance that you have dot set do not create opportunity. You make it true. If you make it true, now there will be no opportunity created if you are converting the lead. So this option is doable from Apex class. So that is it about this session. I'll be coming up with more interview questions. So stay tuned. And if this video helped, please, please, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much.